Most excellent. Hey, gentlemen, congratulations for The Dark Heart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
more of a congratulations that this is being showcased at Sundance Film Festival this year. How do you two feel about that?
Well, Gustav, I'm a newcomer at Sundance. Gustav, he's he's been around the block. So no, but that's for me, it's fantastic. It's such a honor. And it's a shame we can't come over and visit. So,
Gustav.
Yeah, no, I think it's we're so happy and thrilled to be selected in a very small category of the festival that is the series. We're so happy to be there, and yeah, I love Sundance, man. I think it's a great group of people that run that festival, and I think they really do care and are really interested in film and filmmakers, so yeah.
Great. Well, let's start with you, Oskar.
Yeah.
What sparked you to write the story for The Dark Heart?
Well, I was approached by the production company of Lex, and they gave me the book, and I read it, and I immediately, felt this Shakespearean quality to it, like this microcosmos where very clear players, and it had really like clear turning points. It was a clear plot, and then so that what that got me hooked. And it was also I grew up in the Swedish in a small town in the Swedish rural area, and I felt there was a lot of I wanted to do a story set in that environment. So that's how it all started, and then Gustav came along.
Well, I guess it's tossed to you, Gustav. Tell us on how you wanted to approach sort of like a mystery like this, and not to mention that it's much more an episodic series rather than a film.
So sorry, how I got approached and what was that?
How did you want it approach, and especially since this is a episodic series rather than film, because I think I'm familiar that you were made movies rather than, but this one's actually stretched out.
Yeah, I mean to me what's to start about how I got approached. I met with Oskar and I read the book. Oskar was already attached to the project, and I think it was just great. Like I think he had a fantastic take on the story, and it was very easy to work together. And I think for me, what like drew me specifically to the book was this like contrast between something that felt very ancient, this whole story about a family feud, people living off the land, this rich patriarch. There was so much about this story that felt like a novel from the 19th century, but at the same time there was something like very contemporary about this story, about these three people yearning to be seen and to get this recognition, self-realization in a way. That whole mix between the contemporary and the ancient of the story, I think, was super fascinating to me. And in regards to making a series or a film, I think to me, with this project at least, I didn't really see a difference. I mean, the way we created this and the way the story is told is the same as a feature film would tell this story. We just have more time to do it, Oskar has written all of the episodes. I've directed all of them. It was the same DOP. We shot it all in one stretch. So both like how the story is constructed by Oskar and how we shot the series was much more close to, I would say, what you would typically call a filmic approach than a series approach, which is also kind of what drew me to the project. I think before I got contacted with this, I also said, if I would to do series, I would want to make a limited series, and I would want to direct all of it, then I think you can do something you can't do with film, you know, which is going into character development in a whole different pacing in a way. You know?
Yeah. To me, it did feel like a film. When I first started to play it, I thought it was a film until I realized I was watching a series. Oskar, tell us about writing episodic series, and that it was fortunate that it was more a series because you spent a lot more time with the character development, because this is like your Shakespeare.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, when we started working with it, it was very clear that, you know, we had these two female characters, Sanna and Tanja, and, you know, we're going to stick to their side throughout this story, and we're going to use them to reflect each other, to mirror each other. And you know, I think, you know, for me, this is, you know, the plot is very clear. There's clear turning points. It gives you space, you know, to go into character, because, you know, for me, this is a story about character, about, you know, being a human being, you know, the dimension of the human heart, and so for me it was all about character. I think that, you know, the plot, when me and Gustav were working, we you know, the plot was it, you know, it was, you know, it almost wrote itself. You know, the plot was there. We of course we spent time, you know, developing the plot and, you know, adjusting the plot. But I think, you know, we both had like a common feeling and sense for the, you know, this is the plot that we're going to use, and let's, you know, let's challenge ourselves with the characters. Let's go into character, and let's really, like, you know, push the characters through, you know. So yeah, that's you know. So it was a, you know, it was a nice experience to really focus on the characters with this quite clear and quite, you know, clear plot. It's a clear plot and structure.
That's great. Gustav, could you tell us how you found the perfect cast for your series, especially the woman who had to play Sanna, because she had to bring in certain lumberjack skills into the series.
So with her, like, basically all of the other principal cast were people that I knew off beforehand, that I've been watching from afar, and, you know, was a fan of, you know. So that was easier. Okay, yeah, I can see her playing that part. I can see him playing that part. But with Sanna, she was a new discovery, at least to me, and she did a self-tape that was absolutely amazing. And I think she really shines in this part. I think she's fantastic. The whole lumberjack thing she did not bring. She doesn't even have a driver's license. Let alone she knew how to ride huge forest machines. But she was so she went like a month in advance and met with. We had like a lumberjack consultant on the film called Anton. And she basically just hung out with him, and he taught her how to wield an axe, but in a more, like, obviously they don't use axes anymore, but chainsaws, driving the machines. In a very few cases, there's a stand-in for her. But to me, the most important thing was that it always felt real. Like, also just how you pick up a chainsaw, you know, and all these things. But she was great, and she had a lot of fun with that part of the shooting as well. I did too. I actually got to try out some of the machines as well, which was great.
That does sound perfect. What was the locations hard to find for the series? You know, because you have to film in the woods, find the ranches, you know, all that kind of stuff.
It's not very hard to find woods in Sweden. It's like 90% of Sweden is woods. But actually, all jokes aside, woods was hard because you can't just go into the woods and take a picture and show. Like, the location scout can't go and take a picture and show you, because you have to get in the woods to find it. But it was all about finding the two main farms, you know. that we had some very specific needs for, and they needed to contrast each other a lot. But we spent a lot of time doing that. But eventually, like the two farms, like Sanna's farm and Marcus' farm, they're actually like 100 meters from each other. So we were really lucky in finding two perfect locations that were actually next to each other, you know. Yeah.
That is great. And Oskar, I understand all this is based off a true story. So how much of this series is going to be fictionalized, and how much did you have to expand beyond the book?
I think, you know, I think we early on decided that we are pretty much more inspired by true events than, you know, based on. I think inspired is a better word. And you know, we spoke a lot about, you know, me and Gustav, you know, this is an artistic, you know, view of things. You know, there is this murder story is, you know, it's been, you know, portrayed by journalists in Sweden earlier. It's been, you know, they've done podcasts and stuff. But what interested us was, you know, and there's a couple of, you know, different theories about this case, but, you know, we weren't interested in that. We wanted to portray the characters. You know, this is not, I mean, art triumphs over journalism sometimes if you go deeper, you know, go into the human heart. That's what we can do. You know, journalists, they can, you know, come up with theories and speculate and all those kind of things, and, you know, they're really good at that. But we wanted to, I think, you know, we had a common will, me and Gustav, to really use the artistic tool to come into these characters and to portray them as human beings. So we spoke a lot about that. So of course we you know, we wanted to be respectful to the people, you know, that was involved in this and etc. But we made it clear from the start that this is an artistic interpretation of the events.
Great. Well, I really appreciate it. The only thing that I was upset was I only got to watch 3 episodes. So now I really do want to know how it ends. How many more episodes do I have left? 2 more. Well, you know what? I can't wait to see the rest of the series and how it all unfolds. Gentlemen, thank you very much for speaking to us about The Dark Heart, and thank you for showcasing it at Sundance. It is quite riveting on the edge of the seat. So I would love to see more.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Selling it to the States so that you can have your wish fulfilled.
Well, I have to because how am I going to know the ending?
Exactly.